our E4G live events. Today we are super enthusiastic. We are being contagious, basically, by the smile and force of our guest today. We had our pre-event before going live. We're here with Nancy Cooklin. She's a coach. She's an author, and she helps you people in finding the best of yourself, let's say. Of course, she's going to tell us a little bit more about herself, about her work, and why she's here, of course. Now, you know that here in Ethics for Growth, we target sustainability in all of its possible aspects, this very broad topic that is sustainability. Today, we talk about the people, about persons, let's say, and how important it is to be also sustainable. I don't know if we can say that within ourselves, of course, applied to the business environment in the end. Nancy, welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Giuseppe. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor.
So let's break the ice I know it's not your core, but since we talk about sustainability, I'd like to challenge you by asking what, according to you, sustainability could be. I mean, going beyond the academic definitions, of course.
Thank you. That is a tricky question because I keep on asking you when we've been getting a line for this conversation. I don't want to sell myself as an expert on ESG or CSR, or sustainability. How I see sustainable, and the word says it, right? It's that what we need to do, we need to live in a way that is sustainable. If we overwork, that's not sustainable for our health. If we're working with people that are not healthy for us, or if we work in a company that is not aligned with our values, that's not healthy, so that's not sustainable. So that's what I mean by sustainability, that I think it's key now more than ever. COVID has put a huge mirror in our faces, in ourselves, and has made us ask, what do I really want? So for us to be well-being, that's what happiness is for me. Be well, feel well, and know yourself. You need to be in an environment where you feel that you give the best of yourself, that they allow you to give the best of yourself, so that you feel safe, that you have a sense of belonging, that you marry the cause of the organization that you're working with, and that you like the people that you have by your side.
So I totally agree. Having a good working environment is a key to the success of the person, of course, of the employee, of the partner, but also of the company itself. So going straight to the point, basically, I know I like the fact that you are very direct in your talking. Let's see this first on the company perspective. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how can a company actually benefit from a good corporate well-being? So just out of course, it's easy to say happy employees, happy company, yes, but if we think about metrics, about measuring this kind of well-being, how do you think that company can do it, and how do you think that company can understand if their working environment is actually healthy or not?
Nice question. And companies, they go by performance, right? And they go by the talent that they attract also. Who are they attracting? What I always say is that before, when we looked for jobs, is like, the big companies and the big names had lines of people outside, waiting to work there. But now young talents look and study the company, and if they're sexy enough, then, or if they're or if they're ethically aligned with their values, then they're going to go. What Ethics for Growth does, and I'm so happy to see you and your partners work on this, do social innovation. This is exactly what it is. Innovation is about diversity, is about having different people that can create new things. Because if we keep on doing the same things that we have always done, we're not going to get new results, right? The world has completely changed. I'm a fanatic of the why not concept. Now it's all different. So, different generations, different, gender, culture, all this diversity conversation, I think, is so important. So I think, to answer your question, it's also innovation, is doing business as usual, which is now unusual. Are we being open, and are the leaders being open to new ideas, to new projects? Are we being to new markets? Maybe there were markets that we weren't interested in working with, and now we are.
So I'm hearing an interesting word that sometimes can be a little bit tricky, but I heard something about leadership.
Ooh.
So you're mentioning, managers, leaders trying to innovate. Uh, I know you do something about leadership as well. You do team coaching
Mhm.
event. Um, so I don't know if we want to talk about the figure of the leader, of maybe what a healthy leader could be,
Right.
or what a leader should do to have a healthy team.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us about it? Not too many spoilers, but tell us something about this. I mean, I think that for companies now, especially in Italy, and you know that we are from southern Italy, we really like to address the Mediterranean basin, the south of the world, where business as usual is usual. It's really
Right.
usual.
Right.
It's difficult for a lot of business owners, small business owners, medium business owners, to actually evolve and to understand that business as usual is old.
Yes.
Okay, even like if we think that we are talking to these people, that maybe they realize that they are getting old, but
Yes.
they don't know what the evolution is. It
Yes.
matters for now about indeed engaging the team and being good leaders to their team. What's your opinion? What's your view?
Oh, this is a huge question. I would like to
Only
work.
huge questions today. Big guess, big questions. It works like that.
I would love to have my whiskey on the rocks right now and just get comfortable and just chat. Well, there's a couple of roads here, right? One is the leadership conversation, which is, leadership for me, as you know, my last work and book is called Human Leadership.
Oh,
But
sorry. I'm going to interrupt you 1 second, just to say something to our audience, either
yes,
that they are watching now or there are probably a lot of people watch this recorded. Of course, you will be able to find all the work about Nancy, if she wants, of course, to share it in the comments. So, of course, Nancy, if you want to share your books, your work,
thank you.
you can, of course, plug the link
Okay.
after the live
Okay.
within comments. Okay.
Great. Thank you, Giuseppe. The leadership conversation, the subtitle of the title, I think, is the more important thing. To be a great leader, first you need to know yourself well. I think leaders, you're from the South, but I'm way more South than you are. I'm from Peru originally, and I think that how the markets are going, we're having to change the mindset. No, we are social being, and we have to adapt. But we're also very adaptive. So I think that old conservative mindset is changing, because it has to change, because if there's no demand for who we are, then we wake up, right? It's about performance, and it's about getting to the numbers. So I think that now leaders are asking themselves different questions, and is, how can I lead differently? Because the request is different. There's so much now about conscious leadership, coach leaders. It's about being a mentor now, right? It's about asking ourselves a question: what I'm doing now is going to take us to the next step? Because, really, we can't not think with our old belief system. So I think there's a lot more self self-assessment going on, no? Because we want to retain good talent, younger people that believe in this conversation we're having right now, are asking different questions, and they're working, and you're working differently, which is great. You like to get things done, and you like to work for a cause. Sustainability, for what I know, also measures the ethical impact. So we're talking about ethics. O sea, how much more human can we get? I mean, you should invite philosophers in this in these conversations, because
We did. Yeah.
exactly, because that's what it is. O sea, we are at a point, your generation, you have everything. You've never been through a crisis. Not, right now it's different. So it's like, and when things start to change, what you do, and there's crisis and you get confused, you look at your leaders to see who to follow, and you're gonna trust, and you're gonna feel comfortable and safe, so you're gonna perform better, because let's not fool ourselves, it is about performance. But it's okay if we're performing, and then meanwhile we're healthy, not a burnout anymore, that we need to do ridiculous hours and work till, we have to wait for the boss to, turn off the light in the office at 10 p.m. so that I can finally go home. No, that's not sustainable anymore.
And yet it's common.
And yet it's still happening.
Yeah.
But what's happening? That young, good talents are leaving, and they're creating the business like you are, or they're going to other companies that are more aligned with their values. O sea, thank God, evolution does its course. So the issues that we had before are not the issues we have today. And I hope the issues, because in this case, the sustainability conversation is urgent. So we're taking care of it. And one of it is taking care of our people. Companies are being way more people centric. I see, I hear. And as in everything, it doesn't happen overnight, of course. But the intention is there.
So, I mean, you mentioned the leaving of young talents. Now in the US, there is this big phenomenon about the big resignation, about this huge wave of millennials that are basically leaving and changing companies. Some people that maybe, I mean, have a negative and less romantic understanding of this thing say that maybe just usually people leave for better economic conditions, but I don't think that's totally true. I mean, I've read a lot of surveys where actually the salary is one driver, but it's not the main driver anymore.
Not anymore.
And one of the main driver is purpose indeed.
Yes.
And that's what we do in Ethics for Growth. Of course, yes, we also, of course, we work on pragmatical plans and strategies and activities. But the idea is that an ethical company is a company with a purpose. It's
Yes.
a company that doesn't do greenwashing. So you don't do sustainability just because anybody's doing it.
Right.
And you do it with a real engagement
Yes.
of communities.
Yes.
And I like to talk about communities because one community is the one on the outside. So customers, people, of course, in the area addressed and targeted by the company. But the other and main community is the one within the company. That is
Yes.
employees and
Yes.
eventually suppliers
Yes.
as well. And
Yes.
so, yes, I totally agree with you. We talk about economics, we talk about numbers, we talk about performance, strategy, everything is true. But also, we must talk, and we do talk about philosophy. And the idea here in ethics is that, of course, with our consulting, we do actions, but with these kind of talks, we want to generate thoughts. So it's a way of disseminating this kind of thinking that a new economy is possible and we could be on the right track. Before getting to the questions from the audience that I'm already seeing some chat, I'd like to ask you one last question on my side that is related to the individual. Okay, so I'd like to know a little bit on how you support and coach the individual in this process within this big environment that we are discussing today.
Oof, there are different ways. I mean, companies, for example, companies as an organization, lately I've been doing a lot of team coaching. Of course, after the pandemia and everybody doing remote working, it is really important right now to regroup, to get together, let's be together, let's just share, because it's different to do meetings online and it's different to do it live. But what has happened is that many people, for example, there's a lot of people that are happy to stay home and they don't want to go to the office at all, even though now it's hybrid and you do 2 days. No, some are choosing to not go at all, as you know. That new problems have emerged. So we are having to adapt to that. So to do that, what are we doing? We're like saying, okay, what are we about? Okay, let's discuss one more time what our purpose is, what are values, what are we thriving to go towards? Who do we want to be in the market? What's our brand? What are we delivering? And how are we delivering? I mean, we just did this exercise last Friday, and one of the behaviors for the group is smile. It's as basic as that. We have all been scared. We're still scared, like the socioeconomic scenario is not too bright in this moment. There's a crisis everywhere in the world. And so we really need to have you talked about community. When it's family, like this systemic outcome, like the counseling I studied is systemic, and I'm a fanatic on systemic thinking. Everything we do and we don't do affects the whole system. So so it's really important right now that we adapt to this new way that the system is moving. So you asked me about how do I coach? So in company as group, to realign for a while, let's give ourselves time to talk about where we're at, where we're going. Are we all aligned with where we're going? If some are not, it's okay, but at least we talk about it, right? It's all there. And from a personal point of view, there's a lot of what I'm working on more lately is like a raise in the role, and also going from me to us. That is a huge conversation also. Leadership is lonely. The higher up you go, the lonelier it gets. And your people are there expecting these answers, and we don't have all the answers because we're human beings, thank God, right? So it's about building our emotional muscle. It's about being really clear of who we are and why we're doing what we're doing. That is sexy. People love it, that you can say, you know what, I don't know, can you call different people from different internal communities. So I'm in finance, let me call marketing and HR and governance, and see where we're at, and let's talk about it together. That's what I'm seeing more of.
I love this definition. I'm gonna go from this definition. Leadership in lonely. It's lonely. I like it, and I like the fact that you use the word sexy about sharing.
Yes.
Yeah, sexy. I mean, sharing should be sexy. It shouldn't be a matter of shame or other things. It's
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So now we're going to go a little bit on the question, and on the end of these 20 minutes that basically are being flying away.
Gone. Mamma mia, where did they go?
Yeah. So first thing, I'd like to thank Claudio, as always, that is behind the scenes, and he's the guy and my associate, co-founder of Ethics, that basically makes this happen. So thank you, Claudio, as always. Of course, you're listening to us. Please, of course, we are talking, but if you can take notes, I'd like to take this down. Leadership is lonely. We're going to use that. Sorry, we're stealing it. But apart from this, one last thing. As usual, during our live events, we are going to share with you a code to redeem a tree with Freedom. So if you want, there is a forest available that is donated by Freedom to offset our and your imprinting, let's say, footprint on our soil. Since we talk about sustainability, we also care about the environment. We are not going to debate every time about offsetting, but it's always a nice thing to do, to plant a tree. So of course I know that Nancy is going to get her tree as well, and we already have ours. So join our forest. And last thing, question is, how important it is to have a good leader in a work environment, and if there are any specific skills required to be a good leader, I'm going to add today.
Allora, how important it is to have a good leader in a work environment? I think it's super important. And I think we are all leaders. This is something that I'm fanatic about. I'm a true believer, because we all teach and we all learn implicitly and explicitly. So sometimes we expect, I don't know, upper hierarchies to tell us what to do or to be in a certain way. And so we wait for them to tell us so that we act. Basically, we're all leaders in the sense that, within our team, we can set functional, sustainable, smart practices that are good for everybody. So if we don't have a good leader, we can be one, right? So we can praise our colleagues, we can initiate projects, we can ask for feedback, we can give feedback in a nice way, etc., etc. And the second question is, are there any skills required to be a leader? Many. I think one of them is being open to new possibilities. Asking ourselves different questions, take responsibility for what we're not understanding and for the growth. Of course, there's all the technical skills, but then there's all the skills of opening our minds, asking different questions, including different people, because including different people are going to give us different points of view. We're so in our heads, and there's studies that show that we're, as soon as we start listening, after only a few seconds we're thinking of our answer instead of keep on listening. So just listen, open, be flexible with new ideas and with new people. I'm Peruvian. Sorry to interrupt you, Giuseppe. I'm Peruvian, but my dad was British from a Lithuanian family. He grew up in Argentina. I've lived in Mexico, Peru, the States, Italy. My mom was from a French, Spanish family, and that diversity, I think it's so rich for my daughters, for example. They already know how to move in different parts of the world. It's not about learning a language, and that is so rich, because I think you can give so many more ideas and get different points of view.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I'm a little bit of a globetrotter as well in my own. But what I'd like to add to your point, I think it's very important. It's this last point of inclusion of diversity, is that of course not everybody has the fortune, of course, but we can find diversity also in small communities, in small environments, because diversity is more than one. More than one opinion is already a diverse opinion. And as you said, being open also to people that are not technically qualified like us in that specific field still gives us a different angle. So I really like this as an answer in being a good leader. It's not just about listening, it's about also questioning and interrogating and asking to people that, let's say, usually wouldn't be involved in a decision-making process. So I really love that we are ending up with this kind of key message. Of course, we are a little bit 4 minutes 30 late. Usually we're not late. We're sharp, but conversation was nice. So we kept on going. As usual, our format is very sharp. Boom, boom, boom.
Okay.
But yeah, it was amazing. And of course, for the audience, Nancy's contacts are going to be here available with her work. You can contact us if you want to have more info about her work and do something together. We are always open also for people that have more questions in the future to type them on the comments. We are going to reply. Of course, I'm going to thank Nancy again for her being here. And we will see with another guest next month, right before Christmas. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.